Is NASB 2, aka Nickelodeon All Star Brawl 2, worth buying, and what console should you buy it on? Today I'm here to help you answer that question for yourself. Is Nickelodeon All Star Brawl 2 worth buying? Now, this is going to be an unbiased review. I've been waiting a little bit of a while to talk about this because I've been playing the game, trying to figure out if it is worth it, because as you guys know, if you've been here for a while, you know that I told you all that NASB 1 was not worth getting. Unless you got it on sale, or you got it discounted, or used like a gift card or something you got, I don't think it was worth it, because if you look back at footage, the game really does not look good, does not hold up, and it even looking back at it, it almost makes me cringe thinking about how I played this game so much. But then you go to NASB 2 and it's completely different. It's a breath of fresh air, and I wanted to break it down by how the game is and whether or not the campaign is worth it, whether or not multiplayer is worth it, and whether or not even going to tournaments is even fun to do. As some of you know, my region is pretty filled up with tournaments all the time. It's very interesting to come out to tournaments because there's literally stuff every day for Smash Brothers. There's even side tournaments for NASB and other things during the week. Now, as a competitive player, I think multiplayer is pretty much where it is for me. They have ranked. They have the training room, which is a lot better than the majority of training rooms in other platform fighters. And they have all these other tools for single player that make it really worth it to just even play alone. If you don't have friends to play with online, or you want to just play ranked, you can do pretty much anything your heart desires, including grinding and discovering new tech, plus playing to see what characters you love. This game is unique because you can kind of resonate with any character essentially. I didn't think I would resonate with a lot of the characters that I played, but I played them, and then all of a sudden I was like, holy crap, they're really fun. This is probably the first time I've played a platform fighter and tried the other characters and realized all of them are fun. That can't be said about the first game, and it can't be said about some other platform fighting games. A lot of them come out the gate either really good or they need to be patched over and over again, like NASB 1 was, and that was ultimately the downfall, was that they took too long. The thing that's great about this game and NASB 2 is that they made enough money to obviously make a sequel, but they got a bigger budget, so now the game has voice acting out the gate. It has other stuff right off the bat. If you were worried about the game's longevity, if you were worried about whether or not the game would stick around, the game has staying power now. Not only did I like smile, super cheesy, like laugh to myself when I heard some of the voice lines, it's even hilarious to get hit by the supers that some people do. If you've been hit by Patrick's super, he literally goes spider, spider, and he like throws you around like in the episode of SpongeBob. It's hilarious. The way that they implemented a lot of the personality into these characters, and it comes across really well with the voice acting because it's the original voice actors. Something that was lacking in the first one, obviously the second one fixed majority of the problems. It even brought back some characters that were in the other game, plus a bunch of new ones. Even though ranked has been patched a few times and ranked has been better, it's definitely at its best right now as of patch 1.3. Best of threes are meta for tournaments and for any other style of game. Majority of the time you're going to be doing a best of three. What's great about this game is that they listen to the community. So multiplayer has been nothing but amazing stuff, because anytime there needs to be something addressed, it gets addressed pretty fast. The thing I will say is that a lot of people have been kind of upset about the patch culture, you know, getting used to certain moves, getting used to certain knockbacks, and then it gets changed and it messes up your game plan. Well, that happens in a lot of games, but not a lot of games actually have the balls to go out and actually patch a buff, make things better, and pull things back into line without messing up the integrity of the game. Now, NASB 2 does that really well, because not only do they have their own solutions for things that they think is kind of strong, but they also have buffed up things that I didn't think they would buff up and made things better. From how I see it, this game's going to be a different game from start to finish, sort of how like NASB 1 was, except for the patches are faster, they're better, and there's more of a community behind this game than ever before. I get it. Some of you were skeptical on getting NASB 2, and I did get the copy for free, but I was going to just buy it on Switch anyway because I wanted to get it. The only thing I could say that's a negative for this game is that not all copies are equal. The PC copy, aka being on Steam for NASB 2, is way above the rest of the competition because we can change our graphics, we can change everything, and I don't think you can on consoles. They're more restricted, and everything's sort of set in place for the same standard set playstyle and gameplay you're going to get across almost all consoles. I will say, I think the best version is always going to be PC. If you don't have a beefy PC, it's always going to be consoles next, and if you have the next gen consoles like the Xbox One S, or you have like PS5, it's going to be better than the Switch version. But if you really want to play it mobily, and you want to play with your friends, you want to play it as a party game, and you want to play it on the go, I think it's a great choice. The only thing that's bad about it is maybe if it's still locked to 30 FPS and you're a PC player, you notice it. But if you always play on console anyway, there's likelihood that you're probably not going to notice it as much. But the only thing I can say is the loading times are longer, and that affects everyone. Although they have been patching the loading times and making it better, I haven't really bought any many copies for consoles as I wanted to, because I was sort of leery of what everybody else was saying. I can definitely tell you right now though that the PC copy is the best, and then the next best is going to be the Xbox and PlayStation versions, and then the third best, being the worst, would probably be the Nintendo Switch. Now that's not saying that the Nintendo Switch is bad and you can't play on it, but you can't use other controllers, and if you get used to other controllers, you really can't do anything about it when you go to tournament. You have to use that same Pro controller, you have to use that GameCube controller, you're kind of locked in. Whereas on PC, you can pretty much play whatever. You can play Xbox, you can play on a PS5 controller like I do, you can play pretty much any controller that comes to mind that works. A lot of people play Xbox controller, and they also use the Pro controller as well from Switch. I think that the standard version across all tournaments also is going to be the Steam version, aka the computer version, and I think that playing it online is a lot better because we have Ethernet, and most times, obviously, some console players don't have Ethernet, so it's a little bit more laggy, but the net play is just great. The net play I was worried about in the beginning, but as I've been playing longer and longer, I really think it's great. I don't notice any hiccups. I feel like everything I do online feels good and it feels responsive. I will say playing online feels not as good, obviously, as IRL, but it feels almost the same. There's literally barely any discretion, to the point where I feel better, obviously, playing in LAN, in person, but it's more about getting out there and putting yourself out there and playing for fun. For me, I think that it makes a big difference that we actually have a way to play online with each other. And we have crossplay, which was something that NASB 1 did not have. So already off the bat, I think the game's worth it. But some of you may be wondering, well, I don't want to play multiplayer. Is there anything else to do in this game? Well, yes, they have single player for anyone to be able to play and have fun and lose lots of hours of time just playing and having fun. For me, when I was playing the campaign, I just felt like, holy crap, we're finally here. We're finally here with this voice acting. We're finally here with this stuff. We get to watch and fight Vlad Plasmius. We get this mesh of worlds. It is sort of like Diet Subspace Emissary. And yes, I get it. I know a lot of people get upset or angry when I say that it is like Subspace Emissary, but there's nothing else to compare it to. Smash Ultimate completely dropped the ball when it came to World of Light. It is nothing like Subspace Emissary from Brawl era, and that's probably the only thing that I miss from Brawl. But this game's got something special about it, something different. It's almost got like Break the Target, and then it's got these other things where you can hit as many of these robots as you can in single player. They got Boss Rush, you got all this other stuff. You have campaign itself, which is actually going to be pretty hard if you put it on the hardest difficulty. I couldn't even beat the Flying Dutchman on the hardest difficulty. It took so long because of how unforgiving the game can be. NASB 2 offers an array of different things, with the campaign being very interesting because there's cutscenes, there's dialogue between every single character, even unique dialogue between characters. I've played the beginning of the campaign a few times, and I've noticed several different things across every single playthrough I've done, including the cutscene being a little bit different. If you die a certain amount earlier, you die later in the story when you first started. The game's absolutely amazing. I did not expect it to be this good, and I definitely did not expect them to put a bunch of voice actors and their true voice actors to be able to actually come across with the things that they do. If you're on the fence about NASB 2, I will say that if it ever goes on sale, it was 100% worth it. Now, a lot of people have been saying, oh, it's $50, it's too expensive for me. It's $10 cheaper than Smash, right? And you don't have to buy the DLC for Smash. Like, if you bought the DLC for Smash, you're pretty much going to be locked in for another $25, so it's around an $85, $90 investment. Whereas with NASB 2, you don't have to buy the DLC if you don't want to. If you wanted to skip it, you can really just skip it and just play against those characters online anyway if you have your own main. But if you wanted to experiment with like the DLC that's coming, like Mr. Krabs, Zuko, Iroh, Rocksteady, there's a lot of different playstyles that are going to be available, and a lot of different characters are going to be picked up over the time of this meta changing. NASB 2 holds a very near and dear, very happy place in my heart right now, just because of how beautiful the game is and how much of a come up it is from the first one. I think the game is very much worth it, and I was planning on buying 2 copies, but I got lucky and they let me in early, and so that turned into the original copy, and I don't have to buy it now. But I still want to buy it for Switch. That's how much I really like the game, and I think playing it mobilely is actually one of the strongest points for Switch as a console, because it's like what it has over everything else. Nothing else really can be played mobilely outside at somebody else's house with your friends. It's a lot easier to play Switch than it is to play the other consoles, but I will say there is a little bit of a variation between the versions, though I will say it is very, very small. If you get it on Switch, it's not that bad of a thing. It's not like Mortal Kombat in terms of bad, and they actually cared about this game and put a lot of time into it, and you can feel that they actually tried their hardest, and they are always patching everything and trying to make it better. That's one thing, is that this game for me is more of an investment of my time, because I played a lot of the first one, and the first one did not look as good and is embarrassingly bad compared to this game. It is so much better now. I think this game will give the other platform fighters a run for their money. Now, it's not going to be as popular or Smash Killer. All of that clickbait stuff is just to make you click the video. Whoever said that first, H. Xbox is just for attention. I think platform fighters should be allowed to exist and coexist peacefully because it is a genre of game. Smash does not own the rights to being the only platform fighter in the market. Just because they won Game of the Year for the fighting game doesn't mean anything when they don't produce more content and they don't patch the game anymore. So I think that NASB 2 is going to give everything a run for their money, including Row 2, Multiverses, everything that's going to be coming out. I feel like we're going to have that longevity with NASB 2 because as soon as Christmas hits, there's going to be a bunch of people playing. There's going to be a spike in viewership and there's going to be a spike in people actually caring about the game. There's so many unique characters. I feel like there's no reps like El Tigre who are actually out there, you know. There's a lot of things that resonate with our childhoods. If you watch Nickelodeon as a kid, you would know that this is actually insane to have a real fighting game, and it's similar to that feeling where Smash had brought all of our childhood things together and they're fighting. Platform fighters as a genre is beautiful, and I think that it's going to continue to get better over time, and we're going to see a lot of games come out in the future, like frame makers and stuff like that, but they don't have the mechanics that NASB 2 does. Slime canceling is very unique, and having the fact that NASB 2 feels like a fighting game, truly true to the word, because we have supers, we have bursts, we have these things that are in traditional fighting games. And I can definitely say without a doubt that this game is 100% worth it for me. Now, if it's worth it for you, I would say maybe look up some videos, some more videos, gameplay, anything that can get yourself sparked interest in it, because I feel like it is worth it. The fact that they have 25 characters with 4 on the way, that's an insane amount of characters already, and a lot of them are famous characters through time. So if you can find one or more characters that resonate with you, I absolutely think the game is worth playing and sinking multiple hours in. I almost have 100 hours in the game already. But that's all I had to say for y'all. I wanted to let you guys know my real thoughts about how I feel about NASB 2. I genuinely was excited when I first started playing it, and I was nervous it would be as bad as the first one, but the fact is, it is amazing. I don't think I have very many complaints about the game outside of a few things that are being patched already. More quality of life is better for every game, and I feel like because other games don't have this level of attention or care, that it's not going to be as good for other games, but this game, they actually care. At least it feels like that to me. I don't feel that way for Smash. I kind of just feel like it's always been set and forget. They don't listen to the community, but NASB 2 has always gone out of their way, especially Repeteo, the director. They always go out of their way to make sure they're doing what the community wants and trying to make it so that it's not just pro players having a biased opinion and trying to make tournaments better for themselves and easier, but it's actually the common populace and listening to players who actually feel as though things are maybe a little overtuned or undertuned. I will leave you guys on that note, but I do think that the game is very much worth it. If you guys have the game and you think it's worth it, let me know down below what your opinions are, if you like it or don't like it, and I'll see you in the next video, soldier. Make sure you like and subscribe and hit the bell button, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye. Ooh, we ride.